We're here at Cleveland ConCoction with Captain Joe Outlaw. Runs a pretty cool little organization. You want to tell them about it? It's actually really cool.
Sure. We're the local Cleveland chapter of the Federation, which was originally known as the International Federation of Trekkers, IFT. And we're part of an international organization of Star Trek fan clubs that was started right here in Cleveland in 1984.
That is awesome.
Yeah, our president, a guy by the name of Russ Haslage, back in 1984, was a Star Trek fan, and he was looking to join a Star Trek club and couldn't find exactly the kind of club he wanted to get involved with. So he took it upon himself to write a letter to Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, and actually asked Gene in the letter if he could help him out starting a fan organization, and what Gene's vision was of what would be the ideal Star Trek fan club. Well, to much of his surprise, he got a call from Gene.
Wow.
And they really hit it off, and Gene got really involved and helped him organize and create the concept of the club. And what Russ basically told him was that he would like a Star Trek fan organization to literally live the dream of the Star Trek universe that he had created for a hopeful future for mankind. And basically the ship's missions are community service.
Community service is always a good thing.
Yeah, and to this day, all of the chapters throughout the world were required, if you want to stay in good standing, to do at least 3 community service-oriented missions throughout the year. We do a lot more than that with my chapter here in Cleveland. But everybody, I'd say, certainly does at least 3, and I'd say likely more.
That's cool.
Wherever they are,
cool.
just in their own towns.
That's neat. Now, you've actually had interactions with Rod?
Yeah, last year at the Cleveland ConCoction, Rod Roddenberry was the featured guest here, and his table was right next to ours, just down that aisle
Well, that
here.
just worked out nicely, didn't it?
And myself and our president, Russ Haslage, and the club member who was the captain of the USS Challenger Cleveland chapter before myself, we all got our pictures done here at the ConCoction against the green screen, and they put us all on the transporter deck of the Enterprise together.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was really quite a treat. And you know, to this day, Rod Roddenberry supports us as a fan organization, as his father did throughout the years. So it's nice that even today we still have the connection to the Roddenberry family.
That's really cool. Now, in doing your ship, you're captain of the ship. You are the Challenger?
USS Challenger. Yep.
USS Challenger. That's actually pretty cool. Now, did you choose that name, or did they issue that to you?
The name goes way back before my being captain. I think we're like the 3rd chapter created in the organization, and then the name fell into disuse for a period of time because chapters change and evolve. And then at the time of the USS Challenger space shuttle catastrophe disaster,
because that was going to be my next question.
That is our logo, the space shuttle Challenger. We were named in its honor, and every year we have a nice ceremony about the crew on the anniversary of the mission. Yeah,
that is really cool.
And we actually have the Starship Enterprise and the Space Shuttle Challenger in our logo.
That's really cool. I like that. Now, what are some of the community service works that you do?
We have a combination of big national events like the March of Dimes, March for Babies, and the Toys for Tots.
Oh, excellent.
And then we try to get a mix of local missions that the crew members themselves come up with. For example, we do food drives for a local food bank.
Okay, that's cool.
And then recently, one of our members came up with the idea, geez, we're getting food for people, why don't we do something for pets? So we had a supplies drive for the Cleveland Kennel.
That's actually really cool.
And one of our junior cadets designed the mission patch artwork. It was kind of like the Starship Enterprise with the profile of a puppy. And we actually decorated collection boxes. We put them out in the community. And we collected, I'd say, close to $1,000 worth of supplies that we delivered down to the kennel and got.
That's impressive.
That's a typical away mission.
A typical away mission. There you go. That's nice. Very nice. That's really cool. I like and support organizations like this because one, it does good for the community, and two, I like the fact that you are dealing with with animals. I'm a big proponent for animals. I support our local shelters and things like that too. So, and I think that's really cool that you guys did that.
It's wide open. Any crew member can propose a mission. And if there's something within our resources and capability, I'll say, okay, you're the mission leader, put together your team and get her done.
Get it done.
Yes, and of course we still have Star Trek fun.
Of course.
Yeah, no, we have a crew movie night and an annual crew barbecue, and every now and then if there's a new Star Trek movie, we'll go out and see the movie together. So it's kind of the best of both worlds. I'm an engineer, and I love to be able to, I'll be talking to some colleague, and I'm a Starship Officer, and they just watch their eyes. The little boy, kicks in very quickly. I say,
to sit there and just kind of like, what?
I say, you too can be a Starship Officer.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. What are some of the other things? I mean, I know you go out and you see the movies, you do the public services and stuff. Do you get together for meetings?
And concoctions like this, of course. We have a monthly crew meeting here in Cleveland at Savor the Moment Coffee Shop, which is located on Rocky River Drive, 4080 Rocky River Drive. And it's the first Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock.
In the morning?
Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
I'm going to need more than just one cup of coffee from there to get me there.
Any person that stops by the first time, the beverage is on us.
Oh, that's cool. Note to self, free coffee.
Free coffee on the first day of the month, yes. We'll expect you there. We'll buy you a double.
All right. I'm excited now. That's actually cool. So, I mean, what goes on in some of these meetings, other than maybe discussing upcoming away missions or whatever? Do you have like a natural business order type thing that goes through?
Because we're a pretty loose organization, we're not that much on formal decorum. Every ship's different. I put together an agenda for the meeting and try to keep the crew on track. It's like herding the cats, And,
there you go.
And we'll typically discuss, like the last meeting we talked about, the upcoming concoction and who can make it down to help and things like that. And then I'll ask any crew members if they have any other charitable work that they're involved with, they'd like to talk about, with the crew or any ideas. And then we pick the movie for the next crew movie night.
That's
cool.
And
if there's any current Star Trek information, we're following some of the new fan films. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the last meeting, we had a moment of silence
for Leonard Nimoy.
And I read from the eulogy for Leonard.
That was actually a bad day. We
all hoped that he would see the 50th anniversary at least, and we miss him dearly for sure.
I'll tell you what, I was very heartbroken because, I mean, Spock, just amazing. Loved him in the movies, loved him in TOS, and just...
And one of the true gentlemen in a tough business. People get cynical about how they would, no matter what you heard about Spock from Leonard Nimoy, from so many different quarters, they all said the same thing. He's a real kind-hearted, professional, generous person.
I heard him speak once at Akron. It was just amazing, really.
I watched a video online of him discussing with somebody the origin of this, where it actually came from.
Absolutely.
And that was just like really cool. It's something that just, it made sense at the time, and it continued, and it just grew. It just, wow.
And I have to admit, I was doing this long before I knew the story. And when I finally learned, because I saw Nimoy explain it to people on CBS, and he said that's a Jewish blessing.
Yes.
So in effect, you're giving a person a blessing as well.
And it fits.
All the more meaningful to me.
And it really fits, especially with Live Long and Prosper, because that itself is a blessing.
Absolutely.
And it just couldn't be more fitting. But it's really cool. I love your organization. I'm contemplating becoming an officer. Because
Oh man, we watch you on board, that's for sure.
because I like what you do. I like the general camaraderie and everything like that.
I think of the bragging rights. Now you can just look tell them, yeah,
That's
I'm
right.
a Starship officer.
Starship
Yeah.
officer.
No, we don't technically have somebody in ships podcasting.
I could be communications. I'm a communications officer. That's beautiful. I could. Well, I was going to go the way of Voyager and say I could be the morale officer, but I don't want to be Neelix.
And now, I started out 10 years ago with the chapter, and my first assignment as ensign at the lowest level was ship's sanitation officer. And here I am 10 years later. I'm captain.
There you go.
And but, I picked that role because I figured the ship's sanitation officer is pretty darn important. Because if the ship's toilets aren't working, there's no missions going anywhere.
And the mission's gone to shit.
Exactly. Right down the flushing, right there. Yeah.
How's that work in space?
Well, I actually had an entire thing worked out. So I informed the crew that they can all have their own custom holographic toilet, so it can actually flush and look like there's water going down. But really, as soon as you did your business, it would get transported into the reclamation system and go right back to the replicators for your lunch.
That's actually what happens.
Oh Lord, that is awesome!
Yeah.
I love it.
And that's how I got advanced through the years.
Right, of course, because you had good sound principles. Oh, that is fantastic. Oh, wow. I love it. Oh, look, thank you for making the time to.
Thank you very much.